everyone, good afternoon. Today we will do our presentation still about gender, but it's about gender in workplace. There are Gina, Cecilia, and Tripina as a group 3. We start from gender equality issues in workplace. Crampton, 1997, wrote that the increase in the number of married women going to work has been one of the major social changes to take place in Britain since the Second World War. The percentage of women at work has increased over the last 25 years or so, from less than 40% in 1973 to nearly 40% today. According to Call 2000, men and women have inequalities condition in workplace that also supported by Crampton's figure that show us the economic activity of women by age. In this slide, let's pay attention to the picture that we attached there. It is clearly shown that in the early years of the century, participation rates among young women were around 65%, a very similar figure to today's, but it has declined sharply by the 1920s and continued to decline as women got older. By 1961, the pattern had changed. Participation rates among young women were still around their 1911 levels, but decline in economic activity in the 20 years age group was not as sharp. Economic activity rates begin to rise again for women by age 30 and over. By 1991, however, the picture has changed yet again. Participation rates in the youngest age group were still 65%, but rising until the 35 to 44 age groups. This slide is about women and non-standard employment. Full-time work undertaken without a break from youth until retirement age is often referred to as standard employment. This was kind of work which was thought of as providing a family wage. The proportion of permanent full-time jobs has declined, and the proportions of on-standard job has been rising. Women have held a disproportionate number of such relatively poor jobs. Women are more likely to be in part-time employment than men. However, self-employment has grown much faster amongst men than women. Like in 1994, 18% of the male workforce was self-employed, compared to 7% for women. Next is about part-time employment. In 1994, 78% of part-time jobs were held by women. Part-time work is predominantly a form of married women's employment. In 1981, a survey by Martin showed that 52% of women returning to the labor force after a break of childbearing went back into some cases of part-time employment. Age of children affected the number of work, and the younger the working woman's youngest child is, the shorter the working hour is.
C. Homeworking. In 1991, census counted 1.2 million people who work mainly at home. There are some definitions of homeworking. Hakim and Crampton, 1997, used the term home-based workforce to describe people working at home and people working from home. On this basis, the home-based workforce in fact includes more men than women. A survey from the FEE defines home working as people who carry out paid work in their own home, not from home as a base, and are working in manufacturing or lower level service sector jobs such as imputing data. Official surveys tend to underestimate home working for a number of reasons. Ethnic minority home workers can often only be located by interviewers with specialist language skills. Women paid in cash are likely not to want to discuss their earning if the household is in receipt of benefit. Workers themselves may be unsure of their status, are they employed or self-employed. For example, studies of home working have revealed that lower level home workers are almost invariably women. This study also suggests that home working is not particularly well paid. A study found that the gender and ethnic inequalities in the wider society were mapped on the employment in home working. Thus, clerical home workers got paid more than home workers in manual jobs, and white women tend to get paid more than women from ethnic minority groups. A majority of home workers value the flexibility and autonomy that homework allows. A survey Fostit and Jewson in Crompton 1997 found that 64% of the home workers said that the chief advantage of homework was the opportunity it gave for looking after children. This opportunity gave satisfaction to women who are home workers, even though the work might be tough or as objectively poor condition of employment. The researchers argue that this is because such women have chosen to put their family first, and homeworker jobs are craft and clerical, professional and managerial works. Whilst not denying that women prefer to be homeworker because of family reason, we have to be careful about assuming that as a homeworking is a matter of choice, women have no complaint with the condition. Actually, they can be critical on their level of pay. It may also be noted that, as with the part-time work, homeworkers lose even more of the benefits associated with full-time work, such as sick pay, pensions, holidays, and so on. In addition, they have to pay for their work costs such as heating, electricity, and problem of their furniture. In the cases of flexible employment, we look at, therefore, part-time employment and home working are positively valued by women concerned, but has nevertheless carried with a number of disadvantages as compared to full-time standard work. These include lower rate pay, few opportunity for promotion, and loose benefits such as sick pay and pension. You can compare with men flexible employment in Britain. Men are more likely to be self-employed than to be part-timers. Now we move on to the activity. You need to carefully and compare it with your own situation in Indonesia. Do you have the same experience as people in the Western country? Discuss your opinion with your friends. So, women participation in work in Indonesia is still at relatively low level. The rise in violence and discrimination suffered by female workers is also a phenomenon that needs to be addressed immediately. And this is a major challenge for women in Indonesia to getting decent work and respecting their rights at work. This involves violence and discrimination. It goes from recruiting to job switching. There are still number of violations of workers' rights, such as violation of the right to maternity leave, the right to be breastfeeding, the right to menstrual leave. Now we move on to gender in society. So, what does society mean? We all conceive of ourselves as experts on society. In fact, however, the social world a mystery depend by our lack of awareness of it. Society is our immediate, everyday reality, yet we understand no more of it merely by virtue of living in the. We understand of psychology by virtue of our inseparable present as living bodies. According to Comte's model, society is analogous to a biological organism. Society has its various parts, the family, the church, the state, just as a body has its various organs, the liver, the brain, and the kidney, and so on. It's serving some function for the whole. Comte also felt that society could not be held together by reason alone, but demanded faith. According to Colley in Collins and Makowski 1984, society is an illusion when conceived of apart from individual members. Society becomes a living whole, or organism composed of differentiated members, each of which has a special function. In addition, there was Durkheim, who also had his theory about society. He said that society is a ritual order, a collective conscience run on the emotional rhythms of human interaction. Furthermore, this theory was continued by Weber. He said that there were three orders that people can be tied to others whom they may never see. They were economy, politics, and culture. In relation to gender, according to Ranzati and Curran, 1992, clearly women and men are treated differently in most society. This difference occurs not only on interpersonal level between individuals, but also on a level within a given society. Every society prescribes traits, behavior, and pattern of social interaction for its member on the basis of sex. These prescriptions are embedded in the institution of the society, in its economy, political system, and educational system, religions, family forms, and so on. And society treats men and women unequally. To describe how gender is perceived by society, therefore, in this Unit 3, we will discuss gender in work world, gender in family, and gender in media.
Gender in the work world. In discussing gender in the work world, we have to talk about division of labor. Women and men have always worked together to reproduce social life on a long term as well as a day basis. The majority of women at work today are segregated both horizontally in different jobs to men, for example, in nursing and primary school teaching, where the majority of workers are women, and vertically in jobs that men do as well, but where women are usually lower down the scale or career ladder. In 1997, just over half 52% clerical or secretarial personnel and protective services sales area where only 18% of men worked. Sly, Fries, Risdon, 1997 in Cole, 2000. Gender in the family from 18th century household. For example, wives cook meals and bake bread, while husbands grow and milk the grain, batter the meat, the clean the hearth. Today we rely commercially product foods, but wives retain responsibility for cooking. Now have the taste to cleaning the oven. Studies conducted for more than a decade have yielded consistent findings. Wives spend an average of 50 to 60 hours per week on our work, while husbands contribute about 11 hours a week. Levin, 1987, Hartman, 1981, in Ranzati and Curran, 1992. Another study showed that high-income husbands are the least likely to participate in housework when their wives are also employed. Gender in the media. Ranzati and Curran, 1992, point that the reflection hypothesis holds that media content mirrors the behaviors and relationship and values and norms most prevalent or dominant in a society. However, media analysis also point out that, far from just passively reflecting culture, the media actively shape and create culture. The media that has many power now is television. Defenders of the media sometimes argue that while media portrayals in television are often sexist, magazine, television, and the advertisement that dominant both promote what may call codes of femininity and masculinity. Also, media, particularly television, can be powerful force in breaking down sexist stereotypes by sensitively and realistically portraying women and men in non-traditional roles. Activity. Read Unit 3 carefully and compare it with your own situation in Indonesia. Do you have the same experience as people in the Western? Discuss your opinion with your friends. The answer? If we compare to people in the West in the past, the gender in the world of work is also not much different. Where men remain dominant in society and in work, then women will take up all of the household work. Men have the opportunity to have a good career path than women, because women will have career breaks for reason of giving birth or taking care of children. Therefore, women will receive less salary. Even in the past time, Indonesian West women also didn't have the opportunity to work like men, because they had to take care of all household work, such as make food and take care of children. Even if they worked, they would work as laundry workers without any good career paths, and household work still will be their responsibility. However, nowadays everything is much better because men and women have started working in the same fields, although with different portion. For example, men can still become nurses even though that kind of job is still considered a woman's job. In the world of work, I've never had that kind of experience because I have never really been in a world of work where I was directly involved with people. For gender in the media, I think I can see that where the job groupings are showing very clearly. For example, women will be identified more as secretaries in the film than as leader of the company.
So that's all for our presentation. Hope it can give new knowledge for you, and thank you for your attention.